Hello, and today we're going to be building trees. As we have now got the cliffs on my base done, the next thing is add back to the nature we destroyed while building them. So doing that, we're going to build some custom trees. We got these custom trees here. This was the first attempt on my custom tree, which went okay, but I didn't really like it, so we then moved on to make this second one. And then this second one we've built already. We built quite a few of these, and then to add some continuity, we are going to add some differences. We got the medium tree here and the small tree here, just so we can get different height levels, so it doesn't all look copy and pasted like the same tree over and over. To build these, I followed a tutorial by Xanix, which I followed to build this one, and then these ones I built using the same premise. So you can find a link in the description to his video if you too want to find out how to build these trees. Now we're going to move over into some time lapses to show me constructing this tree and this tree. Now into the time lapse, we're showing me building the first large tree. I did record this in person while building it to run through what I was doing, but I kind of didn't set up my Vtuber model. Well, I have set it up, so it looked really bad. So we're just going to watch the time lapse of it instead. Bit unfortunate. Here you're showing the construction of the smaller tree. Again, same problem. My mic was too far away, so the sound quality was awful. But here's just a quick rundown of what I did. Again, if you want to see the full build, check out the link in the description for the tutorial to build them. Now over onto survival, you can see we're putting in some trees, and you can see down on the right you have one already in that I didn't have to replay while playing for it, but we're going to put these in one by one as the first baseline for everything else. So these will then dictate where the other medium and small trees go, and then we'll terrain around them as well. These are playing quite an important job, as we needed to make the transition from my base and to the ground a lot more subtle and smoother, whereas this really didn't have it. You see the terrain on the left there wasn't completed, so we did that in the stream. We don't have a footage of it. Well, I did, but I didn't find it fitted in, so we'll quickly shoot over that. But that was all done on live stream. There you can see Anne, who's helped gather a lot of resources. So did Ice King, which is greatly appreciated. As we're going around, you can see the cliffs there. The idea with these trees is just so that transition there isn't as sharp, and to make it look like it belongs. It took a while to get this done, and mainly why this video is so late, because I just hadn't taken account how long this would take. As you see here, we start putting in this other size trees. That way we can have some different height levels. These really did help a lot with the build, because it made it look less like a repeating pattern, but more unique, more to look at. Here we put in some of the very last trees in, and now it's starting to look a lot better. It still looks a bit copy and pasted, but due to the nature of them, they don't really fit in. Here we extended the stone bomb, and now we're going to put in the pattern mud, and this is where we start on the gradienting for the build. This took a lot less time than I suspected it was going to, but it made a massive difference, and you'll see later on just how big of a difference this makes and how much it helps with the blending of this, which will eventually be blended into my wheat farm, which is kind of a very important thing, because everything needs to flow nicely, and if we don't flow nicely, everything's just going to look like separate builds rather than one big build. So getting this done was very important. As you hear now, we've got the podzol and coarse dirt going in. Coarse dirt simply because it's a nicer texture than basic dirt, and also doesn't grow grass. I don't have to worry about that. Coarse, then we have the podzol underneath the trees just to look like fallen leaves, which I think did quite a successful job of it. And then we do this now for the rest of the base. This didn't take too long. The podzol was a bit of an awkward block to get lots of, but nothing a bit off camera resource gathering couldn't do. Overall, this base is coming along really nicely, and this is only part of what we want to do. We've got so much more terraforming I want to do in the future, and even including a custom biome. Other than that, we have been gathering resources for it, but it's going to be a massive undertaking, and I want to get the other projects finished before that. In the next one, we're going to be working on our mob farm for the creepers, so we can get a lot of gunpowder, which will then also help with resource gathering, and as well as getting my dungeon minigame going, because digging out the area by hand is painful. Let's see here, we're starting to go all the way around. We're about halfway around here, and then after this we're going to be putting in the mud blocks, or packed mud I should say, which again has a nice, will add another nice transition from this, what, light grey, well, this bright brown to more a light, very light brown. This bit did take a lot longer, and also it took longer than I thought it would, but also not as long as I thought it would, if that makes sense. The coaster and puzzle took the longest, and then the rest of it went by quite quickly. As you hear, this bit did give me a bit of trouble due to the elevation gain there, and I think we will actually build a cliff here eventually, just to further kind of mark in, or maybe we have like a cave or something, but just something to add there, because I think it needs it. And overcoming this is right to the last bit here. This is where it really got tricky, because the elevation gain there really made it hard to sculpt it in a way that looks nice. But we did get there eventually. You can see Anne was hanging around again. I don't know why they were. I think they were just bored, so they were hanging around seeing what's going on. I will say we didn't do the front of the base, and that's for quite important reason, because I don't really know what I want to do at the front, and I might have to switch it over and redesign it. So I don't really know what I want to do, so I didn't want to put the trees up front, because I'd rather know what I'm doing first. Here you can see we're putting in the packed mud. As you can also see that we have finished that corner over there, simply to get more of an idea of what it's going to look like. But see, all this packed mud now adds that final transition, well, second final transition before we move into the path. And it really does make a big difference, because you get that nice gradient of browns, from bright brown, like dark brown, light brown, and then very light brown. And you know, now we've got the pathway coming in, it's really going to add in, it's really going to make that big nice transition there. It's a very nice transition compared to what would have been just the harsh either podzol into it or the mud into it. This really is helping blur the lines between both the bottom of the cliffs and the surrounding terrain. Don't mind what happened to the traveling merchant there. That isn't important. It was just a tragic accident. And you see we're back to putting in the pathways here. Also, we can see I'm mining out underneath the blocks, and because pathways are like 1 pixel smaller than a normal block, you can see the difference. Then you know we now, after repeating that, finishing it, we put in the leaf collector. This is again even to further blur the line between the mud and the coarse dirt. This was the very last minute idea, and something I came up with on the fly, and I think it made quite a good big difference. Here you can see we now putting in the vegetation, which is another point where it makes a big difference. This bit here really helps even more blur the line, also blurs the lines a bit between the gradient on the ground with the muds. Although the transition isn't harsh, it just further softens it. As we are now putting a bit of grass further out just to keep that transition. Here we're now moving on to the other side, where I'm kind of doing it more segmented. We're trying to find the best way to do it. It went a lot faster than I thought it would. This bit I was dreading, but actually it went by really fast, and it makes such a big difference that it's just very much necessary. I went with all the berry bushes first, because berry bushes are just a pain. I think the amount of times I stabbed myself in these berry bushes was ridiculous. I probably should have put them last in that case, but I thought, you know, put them in now. But they really did stab me a lot. I nearly got like a jump scare by a creeper there. That was a bad day. Would have been even worse day for blowing up, but it didn't, luckily. You know, I could, and I hand placed all this rather than bone milled it, simply because bone meal doesn't work in Podzol, and it means I have more control over what I want to do. Here you can see I'm putting in the rocks. These rocks were kind of another last minute idea, but I think they make a really, really big difference to the build itself. It's such a nice, like, it just adds something else to look at, which really helps. And finally here we're putting in the fence. Not finally, one more thing after this, but putting in the fence again, just segmenting it a little bit, but also it looks really natural because the edge of the path is going to have all this area done. You can see here it jumps back a bit. This we did further back, and we're now bone mealing the blocks. As you see here now, we're moving forward with the fences. It's a little bit discombobulated because of the way the time lapse is and trying to get it structured nicely, because I didn't build it like one step at a time. I did one bit over here, then I went back, worked on a new idea and whatnot. Here I'm putting light sources because one, it actually makes it look a lot nicer. Two, it means mobs can't spawn and they are a really big problem, so lighting them up both adds a nice look to it and also saves me from mobs. That's the time lapse and I hope you enjoyed it. And here's the final product. This is what it turned out like. Overall, I'm quite happy with how it turned out. It looks really, really good. Especially from down here, it just makes this castle look so much more majestic. This did take quite a bit of time to do, but I think it's a really important step and it does a lot. As you see here, we still got a little bit of work to clean up these edges. But outside of that, this is looking really, really good. I'm really happy with it. And I think the next big project is going to be getting this area sorted, but I think our next episode is going to focus on getting a creeper farm up and running because we are really needing that gunpowder, and gunpowder would be amazing. So yeah, this is all this is the view from the ground, and this is the view from the air, which I think looks just as good, if not better, because you get a full idea of everything in one, but it looks really good. I'm really happy with it. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing, as that would really help me grow. A lot of this was done on stream. You can join these streams over on Twitch or YouTube of your choice. We're both horizontal format and vertical, so whatever you fancy, we got it. So anyway, hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one. So goodbye. Thank you for watching.